This is Penn Sunday School, and to our listening ears, all angels sings and round us rings the music of the sweet.
Brothers, sisters, siblings, welcome to Penn Sunday School starring Penn Gillette. My name is Michael Godot, Matt Redacted, Penn and I are broadcasting from our separate homes in Las Vegas. Today we'll continue to prattle on about plate spinning and T-Taw 2. We mentioned we would talk about the shags in both shows last week and never got to them. We won't this show either. Here he is preaching love, Mr. Penn Gillette.
The only thing a committee can ever agree on is gray. Maybe beige. I shared a floor in New York City with a tenant. I mean, I was a tenant. No, we was a condo, so we owned our places. So we had apartment across the hall from me and my apartment. We each had almost whole blocks. It was a very big apartment that I had. It was a loft right next to what's the big department store that ends with Taylor?
Lord and Taylor.
What's that?
Lord and Taylor?
Lord and Taylor. I was right across the street from Lord and Taylor. It was in the Garmento neighborhood. And I had a huge, you could bowl in my apartment. It was only one room. It was loft. That's where Godot fell in love with his wife, right?
That's right. That's right.
And across the hall, I had neighbors who I did not get along with, but I also didn't get along with, just nothing. And it was time to paint the hallway. And the neighbor came to me, not the landlord, because we owned their places, but whatever they're called. The board came to us and said, you have to decide on a color for the hallway. So they said, you'll each present your colors and we'll find a compromise. Now, when they say we're going to find a compromise, I know what I need to do. When Glenn is negotiating, I always tell him, go in with our fee being $10 billion. That even if they come in at zero, if we split the difference, we get paid $5 billion for that gig. Glenn never takes my advice. I took my own advice and I went in with fluorescent pink.
Mm-hmm.
So our gray had a nice little purple tinge. But I want to show you how hard it is to create stuff by committee. Tom Walker writes, great show. One suggestion. When reviewing Fool Us acts, even though I've seen the episode that you're talking about, I have a hard time knowing which acts you are talking about. If you start out each review with a more detailed description of what was in the act, then the audience can better relate to the rest of the review.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom. Good advice. Now, let's hear from Scott, sitting in the next chair of the committee meeting. For whom are the Fool Us recaps intended? Tom Walker's the answer, but we'll go on. People who watch the episode already know who was on it. People who time shift and haven't watched it yet don't want to know who was on it. And people who don't watch the show don't care who was on it. Fool Us recaps just seem like a colossal waste of time. When they billboard a Fool Us recap, I used to try to fast forward past it. Now, I just delete without listening. Scott and Tom Walker are now dating.
I want to say, because I
know what's between those two?
Yeah.
Gray.
Great. Beige. I think I can be a little clearer about the acts to refresh people's memories or things like that.
Well, now you're going with Tom Walker.
I can more help Tom Walker. Scott's already deleted my efforts. Scott sees the effort I put into it. I would say that I assume that listeners of the show are interested in your very highly rated television show and want to watch you guys at work.
I also was deluding myself into
Yeah.
thinking that I was adding extra content to fool us.
And it's like, and actually get perspective from behind the scenes of the hosts of the actual show.
I was also thinking that if you had a even tangential interest in magic and we're listening to this, that some of our discussions about that might interest you. But Scott, it doesn't. Scott, because his whole generation was like this, tears down without building up.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell us what he'd like to hear us talk about. So I'm assuming he means plate spinning.
We
You can never
continue
get
to
enough plate spinning.
hold our pandemic foothold as the #1 plate spinning podcast.
We are. And as the possibilities for podcast listening become broader and broader,
Yeah.
you have to carve out a very large niche. And plate spinning is where I've planted my flag.
Because the thing is, the amount of people that watch an episode of Fool Us is a greater number than the amount of people that listen to this podcast. It was my fault for thinking that giant fish ate that smaller fish.
Right.
Right? So.
Rosie Kiju, Kigu, how would you pronounce that?
Kigu.
Kigu?
Caillou, yeah.
Get in touch with Scott. Ask him how he wants that pronounced. Here's what we're going to discuss. Scott, you're a fuckhead. That's the topic for discussion. Scott, fuck you in the neck. Scott, you're a cunt pickle.
Now, all we have to do to not cause offense is to write in the show notes that we're reviewing Fool Us, and we know he won't listen.
You'll never know.
He won't
We've
listen.
gotten clean away.
If you're a friend with Scott,
Shut up.
and I can tell from reading this, Scott has no friends. But if, for instance, you work with Scott at his miserable dead-end job, where he's going to die miserable and alone, if you are part of Scott's family who still, out of love in your heart, even though you don't like him, still maintain contact, why not get in touch with Scott and say, hey, Scott, funny thing about Penn Sunday School last week, they didn't mention you. They did nothing but talk about Fool Us readers. That seems like the kindest thing to everyone involved, doesn't it?
I think so.
Even if you know a guy named Scott that isn't this Scott,
Yeah.
first make sure it's not that Scott. Because if you're not that Scott, you might very well enjoy it. As a matter of fact, the title of this show shall be
Title Redacted to Prevent Doxxing.
Now he'll have to figure out what to do with that.
Do.
From the chat, if you thought Fool Us reviews were bad, wait till you hear the Fool Us review reviews.
Rosie Kiju.
And also, one more note to Scott. Hey, we can't fucking do anything right now, okay? And one of us is making a goddamn television show that we all get to watch and see. We can't even go to the fucking grocery store. Do you mind if we talk about the host of the show's fucking television show?
Yeah, the one thing that happened this week.
Can we talk about it?
Well, I think this is important now. I think we should all have our say. Michael Godot, what would you like to say to Scott?
Scott, I'm really, really sorry that your life has become such a mess. You should open your heart to recaps of everything.
All kinds of recap.
Yeah. Just that kind of love would just help Scott. Scott would lose that hate in his heart. He would enjoy life more. Probably eat and sleep better.
Yeah.
We wanted to know where the coronavirus started. Scott is the answer.
Was it a bat, a weasel, or Scott?
You know, those aren't mutually exclusive.
That weasel bat bastard.
Already, Rich, do you have something you'd like to personally say to Scott?
I think I already said my piece with Scott by forwarding him Tom's mail without comment.
Now, Tom Walker, we like you.
Yeah.
If you have any other suggestions for the show, send them on.
Yeah.
We'll try to incorporate them.
Yes.
Rosie Kiju says, I've been catching up on Sunday school, and I'm wondering, is Penn trying to troll the congregation? The 7 words you can't say on television are shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. Penn's misquotation has been driving me mad. I don't remember exactly what you'd said, but I do remember it's not correct.
That was my comment.
I know.
Okay.
Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, tits. I was so sure I'd memorized that right, and I hadn't. And that's not a surprise at all. Let's talk about birds.
Yay.
I have grackles that live in my neighborhood, and I have mockingbirds that live in my neighborhood. I have some sparrows and a lot of hummingbirds. Hummingbirds scare me
Yeah.
because I think they're big flying spiders. I get frightened and then I like them. Now, I like watching the birds in my backyard. When I am working, I look out in the backyard and I see the birds. So I bought them cracked corn and various seeds. And I scattered it on the grass where I thought the quails, who I also liked, and perhaps a roadrunner would be able to get it. I was hopeful of a mammal visiting, but that hope was perhaps misplaced. Rabbits would get sick from the cracked corn. They don't like the seeds. And squirrels are conspicuous in their absence. I then bought a clear-domed bird feeder. The bird feeder says you can put the dome down close to the bottom and it will keep out squirrels and grackles. I bought this bird feeder specially so I could adjust it in a way that I felt would welcome birds, squirrels, and grackles. Squirrels and grackles, incidentally, the original name for Penn and Teller. So I have my dome up very, very high. Grackles are loud, aggressive, large birds. I identify with them. Grackles are also supposed to be smart. I have my bird feeder hanging about 4 feet off the ground on an attractive wire hanger. The grackles come to the ground and eat the bird seed I've spilled on the ground, but will not hop up the 4 feet. I patiently told them, I think getting from the ground to the bird feeder is 4 flaps for you, maybe 3. And then you can sit on the edge of the grackle-friendly bird feeder and you can feast. No picking among the artificial grass to find a little morsel, but rather a full cornucopia of grackle-friendly food in a grackle-friendly feeder, right in a grackle-friendly area as part of a grackle-friendly's yard. If anyone knows a way that I can lure the grackles to hop up on the bird feeder for their own good, please write in. Okay, that's all I have to say about it.
Well, all right. This is a call to action. We're looking to change the dynamics of Penn's backyard.
Grackle help.
Grackles have the most beautiful long tails.
Boat-tailed grackle.
And what's that?
That's a boat-tailed grackle. Specific in the name, boat-tailed grackle.
They have a beautiful boat tail. I'm telling you, if that grackle is made to make them, that tail has evolved to make them sexually attractive, grackles, it's working.
Before we hear back from all the mousetrap guys, can we qualify that with a nonviolent solution?
Oh yes, please. We would like the grackles to come and feast and leave happily. Because those people are going to say, put your cracked corn in a mousetrap, catch the leg of the grackle, and move the mousetrap into the bird feeder. Not going to do that. I will also tell you that someone wrote that wonderful thing, I'm no longer bothered by birds not having arms, because they do have arms. Their wings are their legs, and their feet are their arms, and that explains everything to me and makes me very, very happy.
It's a great argument. Originally, you bought the bird feeder and it said to avoid grackles to do something differently, right?
It said to lower the dome so they couldn't get their little beaks in.
Okay. Is it possible that grackles have understood this practice and therefore they just see a bird feeder and realize it's just not for them?
I don't know. I really don't know. I know that when I look up grackles and bird feeders, what I see is complaints from people. These goddamn grackles are all over my bird feeder. How do I keep them out?
Right.
I have the opposite problem.
Yeah.
I would like squirrels and grackles in my bird feeder. And I will tell you, grackles and squirrels, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be awful? Wouldn't it be just horrible if Scott were a grackle?
I am not a weasel bat. I am a grackle.
And he is using his feet, which are arms, to type on his keyboard.
More conversations about cracked corn, please.
Well, you know, I explained to you I had a cracked corn injury
Yeah.
when I got it in my eye. Please, people, use cracked corn responsibly.
Yeah.
But there's also different ages of grackles. I like watching the whole grackle family. I like watching them, but I'm offering them more food. And then somebody told me, well, you have to not put it in the grass. Leave it only in the bird feeder. I left it only in the bird feeder for a day. And then I saw them poking around the grass looking for it. And it saddened my heart.
Maybe you got to leave like a string of bird feed from the grass up to
They're
the feeder.
right down. Even when they're pecking, they put their head back and they look up. And I know they can see the bird feeder. And it's clear, which means they should be able to see that it's full of all sorts of tasty goodness, which I will tell you, grackles, 6 years ago would have been very different from what I myself am eating. But now, bird seed is actually too high cal for what I'm eating. An occasional sunflower seed is like what a double sausage pizza used to be to me. I would like you to look at what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautiful.
I am wearing a shirt that is beautiful.
It is.
Beautiful. And I've got to tell you, if you could feel me right now, and I mean that literally, I don't mean that in the slang sense. If you could feel me right now and rub your hands over my body, you would, first of all, find me more attractive. And second of all, want my shirt. You know, we drive Dustin crazy. The long-suffering Dustin we drive crazy because he sends us, what is it, Godot? 2 sponsors a week that we turn down.
Yeah, that we don't like, yeah.
We say this is bullshit. We don't like this. So we won't sell it because I don't like to sell stuff on the show I don't feel good about. God damn, do I feel good about this shirt.
Some palm reading app.
Yeah. You may, because I do, hate wearing dress shirts. But Buttercloth, even the name is good, isn't it?
Buttercloth.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Has designed a men's dress shirt that's actually comfortable. A young fashion designer came here from Vietnam. His name is
Dan
Tran. Came here from Vietnam and invented a fabric so revolutionary it caught the attention of Shark Tank, where they loved it so much they invested $250,000. I got to tell you, this shirt is the most comfortable thing I've ever put on my body.
Wow.
It is incredible. The sleeves feel wonderful. I got to tell you, this shirt, my mother-in-law felt the arm of this shirt and said, when that gets a hole in it, I'm going to sleep in it. The world's most comfortable dress shirt. Now it says, I feel like I'm wearing my favorite t-shirt. That's not true. It's better. It's better. They have a size that fits me. 6'7", they say husky or male.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've lost some weight. They have a range in sizes that fits your body type. This fits me like not a glove, because then it would have little things hanging off it. This fits me like a perfectly fitted shirt. Not stiff or scratchy. It really, even the packaging, they have all soft, nice things. Developed a profoundly soft fabric using a special blend of 100% long fiber cotton and a unique manufacturing process. Featured on ABC's hit show Shark Tank, 6-way stretch, it feels like more than that, and exclusive double finish construction. New icy cotton collection woven with mint fibers.
Yeah, did they send you one of those? Because that's the one I want to see.
Patented process infusing cotton with organic mint fibers. Natural cooling effect of mint, perfect for keeping you looking good and staying cool in the summer. Long fiber cotton for incredible breathability. Long sleeve and short sleeve styles available in regular and tall. I could not love this shirt more. Buttercloth is offering our listeners 20% off your first purchase. Go to buttercloth.com/Penn to receive 20% off your first full price order. That's buttercloth.com/Penn. Now, during the pandemic, when those of us who are doing work on, many of us work on Zoom, you have your Zoom shirt, right?
Yeah.
Because I spend all my time in my office with no shirt on. And then hanging up in the bathroom of my office, I have my Zoom shirt. Now, previously, this was a very, very comfortable Three Stooges shirt. But I have traded that in, and I now use my Buttercloth shirt, which is just maybe more comfortable than sitting here wearing nothing. Can you believe I just said that? It's fabulous. Now, continuing our Fuck You, Scott show, let's talk about T-Tattoo, shall we?
Yes, yeah.
Maybe he likes the T-Tattoo recap.
Yeah, this is different than the than Fool Us Behind the Scenes. I guess for Scott's sake, we should just say Penn and Teller have a television show called Try This at Home 2. And it airs on the CW network. And episode 2 aired last Monday. You brought back on your friend Piff the Magic Dragon. Piff the Magic Dragon was on your show.
Now, he thought that his hunk sucked. But I thought it came out pretty well, didn't it?
He watched it and he thought it came out well.
Good.
When he was filming it, he thought it sucked. But Piff taught a nice trick where you can do it with rice, dried rice in a bottle with chopsticks. Mm-hmm. So he taught you guys how to do a trick, but then lo and behold, he turned around and had an accurate count of Teller had taken a handful of rice at the beginning of the trick, and Piff had you guys open up fortune cookies and his fortune cookie, and lo and behold, the lucky numbers on all your fortune cookies added up to the amount of rice that Teller had selected.
It was a good trick. And when he pitched it to me, he said, I'm going to make Teller count rice for the whole bit. And I said, done, sold, go. And Teller said, what's Piff doing on the show? And I said, you don't need to know anything. He's going to send you a box. I've already cleared it. It's a great hunk. Don't worry about it, Teller. You've got enough to worry about. Then Teller was counting rice grains.
And he did not. He looked authentically displeased by it. And then you guys did this very sweet thing where you had children. You taught children how to do a levitation trick, and all the children did a levitation trick for their mail delivery carriers and food delivery people.
That was really nice, and we got so many of those too. T-Tot 2 is turning into we teach you tricks, and you send us some videos of you doing them.
Yeah, and that's really great because you also had a video of last when you taught people how to do a really fun one where I thought you guys were doing the trick where you put a cloth over something and you try to make a quarter disappear, but the actual object disappears. You guys actually taught people how to make a quarter disappear. And a nice simple trick. And then the film of all the kids doing it for their families and stuff came out great. And
one of those children was my nephew.
Oh, cool.
Won't tell you which one.
Oh, okay. You also, Teller, last time taught people how to do a trick with a carrot where you cut your finger off, which is hilarious. And watching this episode, we got to watch kids actually do that. And it is brutal. Simon Piero does stuff on the show. Like, he's meant for T-Taw2. His stuff with iPads and visual things. I mean, what he must do to his apartment and stuff to make things happen. But yeah, he made a picture appear on his iPad and go end up, it's your picture on the wall. It's really slick and it's beautifully done. Are you getting any flack for your teaching of tricks? The amount of tricks you're teaching on the show?
We got one thing from a Scott. But our reaction was fuck him.
Because Jen Kramer did a great trick that you could do at home, but it was like it's a pretty big magic principle she gave away on that. But she had 3 jars, and she taught you how to where you can have the audience select any jar and have them look like they were correct and correctly predicted which jar they were going to pick. That's a pretty good magic principle. That's a big one.
Yeah, I don't care. You know, we've been thrown out of the magic circle.
Yeah.
And fuck them. Fuck them in the neck.
It is also, to say, in your kids' magic kit, which both my kids have, the Penn and Teller magic kit. And as soon as I taught my oldest son how to get through that, he loves it. And if someone comes over, which is, never, but like the 1 or 2 times it's happened, he sets that up. He loves setting that one up. It's his favorite. It's currently his closer, if you must know. Joshua Day did predicted someone's height with a tape measure.
Boy, that's a good trick.
It's a really good trick.
That's a really good trick. That one I felt bad about him giving away.
Yeah, because I was like, I already had a tape measure bit in my show that I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, this is easier than the one I do.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And T-Taw2 has 1.8 million people watch it.
Yeah.
You can probably do it.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah. That's always there. Randy Shine predicted a breakfast food in a bag.
Yep.
Oh, you're funny. This is a great hunk. You did a great hunk with Howie Mandel.
Oh, yeah. I like that idea. Did it come out good when they edited it?
Oh, yeah. It was really, really funny. And Howie's a fantastic playing along with the bit or whatever. But making him turn his $100 into $2.
Yeah.
That was fun. Was it hard to do with... how hard is it to do these bits, right? So you're interacting with Piff. You're interacting with Howie. You're doing these over Zoom. How hard is it?
Howie was tough because we had to send him the props.
Yeah.
And Howie is a justifiable germaphobe.
Right.
So we had to assure him that everything had been sanitized. And then we have to teach someone to do a trick on themselves.
Yeah.
Which is really difficult. We also did a wonderful thing that was developed by a magician called Adrian LaCroix.
Mm-hmm.
Out of Argentina, which we did for the Nancy Drew people.
Yes. Yeah. That was crazy. Yeah, you had the whole cast of Nancy Drew go through the same card trick, and everybody didn't mess it up. That's
and it
hard.
works at home.
Yeah.
I mean, people did that at home. It's a mind blower.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that is, if you want to know how that trick is done, Adrian LaCroix, through Penguin Magic, just sold that. We actually bought the magic trick online and just did it. And we just did a Zoom meeting with Adrian LaCroix from Argentina.
Yeah.
He spent an hour and a half on a Zoom meeting, which incidentally we recorded, and did 5 tricks for us that he hasn't put on the market yet that we may be buying from him to do some of them on Fool Us.
Oh, wow.
He is one of the greatest Zoom magic thinkers I've seen.
Nice.
And a lot of people are trying to be Zoom magic thinkers, but Adrian really is. That trick, which is called Virtual Triumph, that we did with the Nancy Drew people, is a mind fucker. It's really good.
Yeah. And that's when anybody, if you haven't watched it, you can find it online. And you can just play along with it. You can just get the cards out. Yeah.
It'll blow your mind. Happens in your hand.
That's awesome. Ozzy Wind did.
Ozzy.
You promised that it was going to be crazy, and it was crazy.
He's so good.
He's really, really good.
Crazy good, yeah. He was on tour with David Blaine.
Yeah.
And everybody that saw that tour said David Blaine was great. Ozzy Wind was better.
And if you haven't seen his Christmas special appearance on the Penn and Teller Christmas Foolish Christmas special,
so good.
He destroyed on that.
Destroyed.
And sorry, Scott, I don't even think we reviewed that episode. So we'll go ahead and review that right now.
Yeah.
But he just crushed.
Yeah, Ozzy Wynn said that what inspired him to be that good at magic was his hatred of Scott. So, it shows you that good can come from pure, unadulterated evil.
It was great to see Jimmy Ichihana taught a fun trick for kids to do with cups.
Oh yeah,
which is a good head scratcher.
I said his name pretty well.
Yes, you did. You did a great job. I should have led with that. It was great to see Jonathan Burns. He's hilarious. He was hilarious on Fool Us. He also had an AGT run where he was hilarious, and then he did a bit for you. And this is what I think as you continue to do more of these, try these at home. That's where you have an advantage of appearing on this show instead of the regular Fool Us, because he does this he paints a whole world almost like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Like, he's a very funny guy, and he paints his whole household as outlandish, and he's dressed as a lady having tea time, and does and he teaches you how to do this trick by predicting the amount of biscuits or whatever you'd pick from a little bin or whatever. But it's just a comedy bit. It's just a hilarious comedy bit that just happens to teach you a trick. And those are the kind of things that you can't necessarily do on Fool Us, that this show really is great for.
Well, we have written the 14 bits we're going to be doing on season 8 of Fool Us. We're going to be doing in quarantine. And there's really good stuff. It's weirdly fresh, because for 45 years, John and I have been doing magic with the same rules. And now having a whole different set of rules is really inspiring. And Teller and I are amazing at working over Zoom. We're working most every day for a couple, 3 hours. And I sit here just like this in front of my Dylan poster. And Teller has a setup with a close-up table, carpentry, all these props. And it's exactly what people would think we would do. I sit and talk, and Teller's building stuff. He's got tape. He's got markers. He's got drills. And we have a trick that we're doing with an appearance of Moxie that is, I think, the best box trip we've ever done.
Oh, wow.
And maybe better than others have done. It may be good. And we've got wonderful tricks to do with people. We're going to, for this season of Fool Us, have people, on Twitter or something, write in and be our guest from wherever they are, their home.
Right.
And do tricks with them. So I'm excited about this season of Fool Us. It's going to be weird, everybody being quarantined and being separate, but fuck it. This is what we have to do. We want to be safe.
And also, you guys have been at it for a long time, thinking of stage magic first and then how to make that stage magic fit television. To go about in this direction, I'll be curious, assuming that stage magic can return at some point, if what conclusions you actually take away in reverse. It'll be interesting as well.
There's already a couple bits that we're writing for this we want to put in our live show when that comes back. But I don't want, Trump did that fucking Tulsa rally. Was it Tulsa? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Herman Cain died. And it's not proven that he got it at that rally, but it certainly was one of the places could have gotten it.
Yeah.
And now we know that there will be X number of people who died because Donald Trump gave a fucking rally.
Yeah.
And I want to be very careful that we're able to do a season of Fool Us that people enjoy, except for, Scott. Scott won't enjoy it. But we did a season that others will enjoy, others besides Scott, those who aren't mentally ill. And that everybody came away healthy and happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we want. Maybe the mask wearing is overstated. I don't think so. Maybe the social distancing is overstated. I don't think so. But wouldn't you like to be able to do all that and see your friends at a distance with a mask and not have it come back to bite you in the ass that you killed your goddamn grandmother?
Yeah.
There's a great deal of joy for being a little more careful. Maybe you can get in your car and drive with your children with no seatbelts at 110 miles an hour, and maybe you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
But isn't it nice to go out and take your children and know that they're safe? And if you have a fender bender, your children don't die.
Yeah.
Wear seatbelts. Buckle your children in. Get car seats. Wear face masks. Wear shields and goggles. And watching that dick, what's that dick's name? Jordan? Joe Jordan or something?
Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan.
Jim Jordan.
Who is related somehow to Scott. Jim Jordan talking to Fauci was just seeing a fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Just a fucking idiot. And I'm saying that, yeah, I think he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and also, like we talked earlier, like it was great to actually watch Dr. Fauci outclass him, right?
Yeah.
All of us in that seats wanted him to say something really direct back to him. You know,
Like, if Fauci were talking, did you ever see the tape where Fauci talks to Scott?
No, I haven't.
Fauci does not keep his cool.
No.
Oh, Scott steps up to the microphone and Scott says, Dr. Fauci, you've done a recap of the coronavirus. Those of us who care about the coronavirus already know. Those of us who don't care about the coronavirus don't want to know anymore. We don't need to hear your take on what this novel coronavirus is doing. We've made our decisions. And boy, Fauci, Dr. Fauci, who is even-tempered, and I thought I was watching Yosemite Sam. I said, this is Yosemite Fauci. He said, oh, dang, blast it. My job is to talk about the coronavirus. And then I was so shocked because Dr. Fauci says, you fuck. You're going to sit there in that seat and I'm going to recap what's happening in this country and you're going to listen, you useless piece of shit. And then Scott said, listen, I'm a weasel grackle. It was brutal.
Yeah.
But I thought watching that, I think I had a place in my heart for those who thought maybe the government shouldn't force people to wear a mask. They should just do it voluntarily.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, Jim Jordan flushed that down the fucking toilet.
Yeah. I mean, you actually had a little quote. Was it pulled out of here or where was it pulled? But your talk of compassion and libertarianism became a very spreadable meme.
Oh, good.
And it is interesting. I think it's an interesting time. You know, this is such a test of so many things, and you've been such an influence on my thinking about these things.
It's really not much of a test on whether iPhones are waterproof.
What is like I'm trying to figure out libertarianism in this era right now, right? So like I'm one of the people who is, you know, I was definitely the federal assistance on unemployment was helping me out, helping my family out, right? And on a time where I'm told that I'm going to be teaching my kids full time, it's very hard to also told to get out and go get a job. I've also been someone who's also gone out to get a job no matter what. I have no problem changing career paths, whatever.
And also teaching your children at home badly.
Yes.
Which is harder than teaching them well. We've all learned that.
Exactly. And
I had a comic talk to me and say to me, you don't know how hard it is to go out on stage and do my act. And it's true. He was shitty. Being a good teacher is much easier than being a bad teacher.
Yes.
Being a good stand-up is easier than being a bad stand-up. And I'll tell you, helping my children, I'm a bad teacher. So cry for me. Go on, Matt Donnelly.
I guess like in this time, like, sure, I don't want to, be relying on the government handouts and all that kind of stuff. And I've seen a lot of the government handout language. And I guess like I could philosophically, I'm asking for forgiveness, I guess, because of the scope of which I definitely had a lot of backup plans. I didn't feel entitled to my way of life. The problem is the coronavirus took away all my backup plans as well.
Yeah. There was always the opportunity that you could go make balloon animals on a street somewhere and make some money. And that is gone. And how can that be gone? That's impossible to be gone. It requires nothing but a balloon and you. And you can't now have the balloon. Insane.
It's just...
I think that my way of describing libertarianism is on every question the government has, the question must be asked, can we do this with more freedom instead of less?
Right.
And we must remember that sometimes the answer is no.
Yeah.
Could we do masks and social distancing without government force? I thought so. I was wrong. There are jackweeds. I've never used that before.
You haven't. That is a new one.
There are jackweeds who will not wear a mask to help protect other people.
To save their own grandma.
And because of those jackweeds, we have got to perhaps put laws in place. People cannot work. People are sick. We cannot have people working at full capacity with this virus. So I think you have to ask yourself, can we solve this with more freedom? And the answer may be no. I mean, charity can't help. Oh, no, charity can't help. Charity can't solve it.
Yeah.
And I think that keeping people, we've learned that. The countries that are doing the best are countries that are doing assistance.
Yeah.
I think we have to do assistance. I think we have to. I think we just have to. But I do want to read. You have something else, Matt?
No. I was only going to say that, like, also, like, with the caveat always being, like, I don't think anything should work forever. The reason why we generally swing from one party to another every 8 years and everything, and I get ebbs and flows. It certainly seems like like any rainy day policy that you could have thought of. I believe it's raining right now. I believe this is that rainy day, and so it's hard. It feels terrible. I don't like it. I don't like relying. I don't like that I'm writing my senators and relying on this type of help. I've never been on unemployment in my life. It sucks. But like, it's crazy that I did have plans A through F and they're all gone. It's really hard.
Yes. I think that's very well said, Matt.
Yeah.
And I think we have to do stuff like that. And to have these fucking rich fucks whose jobs are still going. Actually, I don't want to say rich fucks. These jackweeds who are saying, people are going to choose to do this instead of go to work. Yes, motherfucker, they are. And that's what we want them to do because we don't want them to die. And maybe part of your job in the legislative branch is trying to stop a lot of people from dying that elected you. And they are dying. And the fact that we have a president that's shown not the slightest bit of compassion, history will not look kind on us for electing him. No. I'm sorry, you're all dazzled by me using the word jackweed, but that's the way I feel.
The chat reminds us to say those of us who are jackweeds.
Those of us who are jackweeds.
I believe the chat just made the episode title, I believe.
No, we're too late.
I heard that jackweeds are beloved by grackles and you could use them as bait to get to the top of your bird feeder.
I want to talk about this. We should have billboarded this.
The Shags?
Very close to the Shags. Laurie Anderson
Yay.
is this is a hard sentence to say, is Lou Reed's widow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Lori got in touch with me and said she's doing a book about his thoughts on Tai Chi. And when I talked to her over Zoom, I wrote back to her and said, Lori, anything you ask me, the answer is yes. That's as simple as that. But Lou and I didn't talk much about Tai Chi, and the little bit we did talk about it, we didn't agree. I said, so I don't think I'm useful to you. And Lori said, well, you were Lou's closest friend for years, and we want to hear your point of view. So with apprehension, I got in a Zoom call with Lori Anderson and 3 Tai Chi practitioners who are working on this book, the 4 of them. And I talked with them for, let's guess, how long did I talk to them? Kudo?
3 hours.
Matt?
I'll go low. I'll go 30 minutes.
Ready?
1 second.
Without going over.
I talked to them for 5 minutes short of 2 hours.
And then Godot wins.
And it was incredible because everybody on the Zoom call loved Lou. And they asked me to talk about the time I spent with Lou. And they asked me what I missed most about Lou. And I had to think. And I said, I guess I miss new music coming out, but most of the music is very well documented electronically. Lou made really good records. We kind of still have Lou that way. And Lou's writing still exists. What I miss is making Lou laugh. And I said, we would go out to lunch, or we went one night, amazing night with Jonathan Richman,
Nice.
who people know from Something About Mary. Jonathan Richman, I took Lou to see a show of Jonathan Richman's, during which he sang Velvet Underground. First time Lou had ever seen Jonathan. And Jonathan couldn't look at us. He was so nervous. And he sang a song called Velvet Underground, which I suggest all of you look at. Jonathan Richman, Velvet Underground. And I sat with Lou while he heard this song that's a tribute to him. And in the middle has an impersonation of Lou Reed. And there's a line in that song where Jonathan sings, "They were America at its best, Velvet Underground." And I looked over at Lou while he listened to a person sing that song on stage in New York. And Lou turned to me and said, "That's right. Yeah, you got that right." And then the 3 of us, Jonathan Richman, Lou Reed, and Penn, went to Carnegie Deli at 1 a.m. Sat eating deli food until the sun came up. And all Jonathan and Lou wanted was for me to tell them jokes. So Lori said to me, "What kind of jokes did you tell Lou that made him laugh so hard?"
Oh,
And I said, "Lori, they were a bit on the dirty side." And Lori said, "I'd like to hear it." And I said, "Well, they're kind of just dumb, dirty jokes." And she said, "We'd love to hear what made Lou laugh." And I said, Lori, you and I met at MIT. You're a sophisticated performance artist. You're a wonderful writer. And I don't think this is the joke I would use to target you. And she said, "I'd like to hear it." And I told the bear joke, which starts out, guy goes bear hunting. And I told the joke, I said, "I'll just tell you a short version." She said, No. We'd like to hear it full out. So I told the bear joke, which you can find on the web, told by others. I told it full out. Ended with the punchline. And I'd been looking away from Zoom while I was telling it. I was kind of in my reverie.
Yeah.
I looked back and they were laughing. Not as hard as Lou laughed. And then I said to them, I believe that a joke isn't a joke unless it has anal sex and a talking animal. I just threw that in as a way of explanation. But I said, I liked making Lou laugh. And Lori said is absolutely true, and just, gratified me that we never heard Lou laugh as hard as you made him laugh.
Oh.
And I said, there is video. When they did the Velvet Underground documentary, when in the 90s they went back on tour, I was told, although I didn't see it, that there was extensive video footage of Lou Reed telling the bear joke backstage before they went on in Paris. But I talked about my friendship with Lou, and I talked about making Lou laugh, and she also talked about why I loved Lou, what made me a fan, why I was president of the fan club when I met him. It was really a wonderful conversation. And then I said to Lori, well, we did talk about Tai Chi, but I'm afraid I argued with him about it. I said, I think he moved more into Tai Chi when he met you and was involved with you. And I said, part of what helped Lou and I drift apart, Lou and I never had words. We never argued, but we did drift apart. I said, if you were writing a novel and you wanted to show two people and you had one of them getting into Tai Chi and becoming more spiritual, having the other person move to Vegas is a little bit on the nose. But that's what happened. And then I talked to Lori about the word spiritual, which I said that Sam Harris was trying to reclaim, and even Richard Dawkins. And I said that I was meditating and that I was embracing spiritual, but I did not believe in supernatural. And I believed in secular, and I believed in falsifiable and provable. And then I spoke of Lou and spoke about him in glowing terms with my heart. And she said, sounds spiritual to me. And I said, you can't grab that word that way. And it was pretty interesting because it was a long conversation of 5, but I'm speaking mostly of Lori now. 2 people who loved Lou dearly with all their hearts and who disagreed profoundly about the stuff Lou believed. And it was a really, really enlightening and beautiful conversation. Because Lori and I do disagree deeply, but our hearts are joined. It was kind of nice.
Beautiful.
I want to read a quotation that we could talk about more next week because we're going to close it up. But this is an amazing quotation, and one that it's very important to keep in mind when dealing with jackweeds and fucks. This is by Aldous Huxley. Aldous Huxley. Smart cat. The surest way to work up a crusade in favor of some good cause is to promise people they will have a chance of maltreating someone. To be able to destroy with good conscience, be able to behave badly and call your bad behavior righteous indignation. This is the height of psychological luxury, the most delicious of moral traits.
Nice.
Got to be really careful of that. We have to keep our compassion and keep our love, even though things are going very badly and people seem to be doing very, very bad things. We live in a time when, for the first time in our history, the President of the United States of America suggested postponing the election and also said repeatedly that he didn't know if he would accept the results of our election. This is denying a very, very important piece of bedrock of America. the most important thing in what we do is bloodless coups. And adding in that you might not accept the will of the people. You fuck. I mean, Donald Trump is a weak, sad, impotent, dying man. He has no heart. He has no love. To be Donald Trump for 5 minutes would be more mental anguish than any of us could stand. And our compassion must go out to him. But while he's doing that, he's destroying our country. And we must have compassion for him, for those of us who find some truth in what he says. But he is talking about demon seed and negating the elections of the United States of America. I think that almost everyone can come together against that. And I mean, I don't see how anybody in good conscience can call this person a conservative. It's an insult to all conservatives. The best you can say about him is he's an authoritarian. And you know, I don't get along well with authoritarians. I never have. I think that Donald Trump is the furthest thing from a libertarian we have ever had, because he is saying the problems must be solved with force and not with freedom. And fuck him in the neck. That was Penn Sunday School.
That was Penn Sunday School.
Cha-cha-cha! You become naked. Do you notice how I'm trying to lighten it?
Yeah. You really turned it around.
So a guy goes bear hunting. He's there with his shotgun. He's there alone. He sees a bear off in the distance. He holds the gun up. He gets the bear right in his sights, and bam! He misses. The bear walks over. He's trying desperately to reload his gun. Desperately. The bear keeps walking up. He gets there. The bear knocks the gun out of his hand. And the bear says, you know, we love you.